It was the kind of morning that should have been perfect. The sun spilled golden light over the manicured lawns, casting a soft glow on the white tents that fluttered in the gentle breeze. Guests were beginning to trickle in, their laughter and chatter blending with the soft notes of a string quartet playing somewhere just beyond the rose bushes. Inside the bridal suite, Emma stood in front of a full-length mirror, the silk of her gown clinging perfectly to her figure. Every detail had been planned meticulously. The flowers, the table settings, the cascading cake, the invitations that had taken months to send. Everything looked flawless. Yet beneath her calm exterior, a storm of doubt and unease churned. She couldn't quite explain it, call it intuition, or maybe just an uneasy premonition, but something about the day felt off. She turned slowly, watching her reflection, and for a moment, she didn't recognize the woman staring back. The bride she had envisioned for years, the confident, glowing version of herself, seemed distant, almost like a stranger. Her fingers trembled slightly as she adjusted the delicate lace of her sleeve, and for the first time that morning, she let herself breathe, and let the fear slip in. Outside, the staff moved with military precision, arranging chairs and decorating the altar. The air was filled with the scent of fresh roses and lavender, mingling with the faint perfume of Emma's own choice, a delicate blend that her fiancé had complimented countless times. His name, Daniel, echoed in her mind, not with the warmth it usually carried, but with a strange, hollow weight. He had been charming, attentive, and utterly devoted, at least, that's what she thought. Emma's maid of honor, Lily, tapped lightly on the door, breaking her thoughts. "Emma, it's almost time," she whispered, her voice a mixture of excitement and nerves. She had been Emma's closest friend since college, the one person who had seen her through every heartbreak, every triumph. Emma smiled weakly, trying to muster the energy for a reassuring grin. "I know, Lily," she said, but her voice sounded far away, as if it belonged to someone else. "Just give me a minute." As Lily stepped aside, Emma's gaze fell on a small envelope that had been slipped under the door. It was cream-colored, unmarked, and utterly out of place amid the carefully arranged chaos of wedding morning. Her heart skipped a beat, a cold, sharp jolt that made her stomach twist. She picked it up, fingers trembling. There was no name, no indication of who had left it. Simply an envelope, waiting for her. For a moment, she considered ignoring it. Weddings were meant to be joyous, not mysterious. But something deep inside her demanded she open it. Slowly, almost hesitantly, she broke the seal and unfolded the single sheet of paper inside. The message was brief, yet it struck her like a thunderclap. "Emma, you need to know the truth. He isn't who he says he is. Look at the second drawer in the study. You'll find everything there." Her breath caught. The second drawer in the study. That was Daniel's private desk. The thought of opening it, the fear of what she might find, made her hands shake violently. She dropped the envelope onto the bed, her eyes darting to the window, the sun now shining a little too brightly, the wind a little too insistently. Something felt wrong, terribly, irreversibly wrong. Emma's mind raced. Was it a prank? A cruel joke from someone trying to ruin her perfect day? Or something worse? The thought of Daniel, the man she had loved, betraying her, sent a chill down her spine. She glanced at the clock, 30 minutes to the ceremony. Every second counted, yet every second seemed to stretch into eternity. She knew she had to see for herself. She couldn't rely on rumors, or letters, or anonymous warnings. She had to know. With a deep, shaky breath, she told Lily she needed a moment alone, then slipped quietly out of the suite. The hallways of the venue were nearly empty, save for a few staff members setting up chairs and decorations. The air smelled faintly of wax polish and fresh flowers, but it did nothing to calm her racing thoughts. When she reached Daniel's study, her hands fumbled over the doorknob, and she paused, frozen. The room was quiet, almost too quiet, and everything seemed unnaturally still. She moved cautiously inside, her eyes scanning the desk until they found it, the second drawer. It looked ordinary, unremarkable, exactly as it should have, yet the weight of the letter's warning pressed down on her chest. She knelt in front of it, fingers trembling as she pulled it open. Inside, neatly stacked, were files, photos, documents, and letters, all evidence of a life she had never known. Photos of Daniel with women she didn't recognize, letters hinting at debts, secrets, and lies. Every page she turned revealed another layer of deception, another piece of the puzzle she had never imagined. Her hands shook so violently she had to grip the desk to keep from dropping everything. One photo, in particular, made her gasp aloud. Daniel, smiling broadly, standing next to a woman she vaguely recognized from social media, a woman he had claimed was just a friend, nothing more. The dates on the photo indicated they had been together recently, while he had been professing love to her. Her heart pounded, each beat louder than the last, each one a drum of betrayal. Tears blurred her vision. She wanted to scream, to run, to wake up from this nightmare. But the truth was there, in black and white, undeniable. Daniel had hidden everything. His life, his past, his lies, they were all carefully constructed to deceive her, and she had walked willingly into a trap. And yet, in the midst of her panic, another thought struck her, one that made her stomach turn. The wedding was in less than an hour. Guests were arriving. Her family, her friends, everyone who had helped plan this day, all unaware of the storm about to crash down. Could she stop it? Could she confront him without causing a scene that would haunt her forever? Her fingers brushed over a small envelope at the bottom of the drawer, labeled with her name in Daniel's familiar handwriting. She paused, heart pounding, before opening it. Inside was a letter, a confession, or at least, something resembling one. It explained debts, mistakes, choices he had made, and the lengths he had gone to keep her from discovering them. There was an apology, yes, but the words were hollow, a flimsy attempt to justify betrayal. Emma felt a surge of anger, sharp and searing. She had trusted him completely, had shared her dreams, her fears, her entire life. And he had lied. He had manipulated her, deceived her, and used her love as a shield for his own secrets. The tears she had been holding back spilled freely, and for the first time, she felt the raw, unfiltered sting of betrayal. And yet, there was something else too. Amid the anger and heartbreak, a strange clarity began to emerge. She could feel it in her bones, in the steady rhythm of her pulse. She was stronger than this. She would not be a victim. She would not let this day, the day she had dreamed of since childhood, be defined by his lies. She stood slowly, straightening her spine, her gown brushing the floor as she moved. Every step she took toward the door felt deliberate, purposeful. She would face him, yes, but on her terms. She would confront the man who had dared to deceive her in front of everyone, if necessary. She would reclaim her power, her voice, her dignity. As she reached the hallway, her phone buzzed with a message from Lily. Bride, you look amazing. Can't wait to see you walk down the aisle. Love you. Emma stared at it, a bitter smile twisting her lips. Love, it felt foreign now, a word tainted by deceit. Yet she knew something important. She still had control. She could still choose how this story ended. She slipped back into the bridal suite, taking a moment to compose herself. She let the tears dry, let her breathing slow, let her mind sharpen. The sun shone through the windows, the flowers swayed gently in the breeze, and somewhere, faintly, the music of the string quartet continued. The world was moving forward, indifferent to the secrets it hid, and Emma realized that she had a choice: crumble under the weight of betrayal or rise above it. And then she heard the sound of his voice. Daniel was approaching the suite, unaware of her discovery, his words likely rehearsed, his smile polished and practiced. Her heart leapt, not with love, but with anticipation. She would see him, yes, but this time, she would see him clearly. She would see the man behind the mask, the truth behind the charm, and she would decide what came next. The door opened, and he stepped inside, radiant, oblivious, and utterly unaware of the storm that had already begun. Emma met his gaze, her own eyes steady, her expression calm but fierce. She could feel the tension crackling in the air, thick enough to choke on. Everything she had just learned, every secret, every lie, every betrayal, rested between them in that moment. And in that silence, heavy with possibility and dread, she realized that nothing would ever be the same. The wedding, the ceremony, the guests, they were all part of a world she was no longer sure she wanted to be in. She had a decision to make, one that could change everything. And for the first time that day, Emma felt the true weight of choice settle over her, the terrifying, exhilarating power to rewrite her own story.